popping bottles of champagne. Will it be in October to remember the Guardians have done it? The unthinkable. 15 and a half. They wiped it clean, and they won the freaking division. Anthony Lima, Daryl Ryder is in for Kenny, who went to Disney World. That's how he is celebrating the Guardians today. Welcome on in, everybody. Daryl Ryder.
This is next week to go to the Magic Kingdom.
We've got
doesn't
Owen.
care about Guards Ball.
No, apparently not. I think he cares. He had to be watching yesterday. He had to be paying attention. We've got Mitch, we've got Owen, we've got Daryl. And welcome on in. We will save the Browns for a little later in the show. I promise you we will get to them in about 20 minutes. What an unbelievable comeback for this division. Improbable. And then just they added even some more flavor, some more flair with the walk-off yesterday. Were you paying attention, Daryl, closely? I know you had other things. You had, the Browns game to pay attention to, although you really only had to pay attention for about, a half? A little over a half?
Yeah, about toward the end of the third quarter, I was able to zero in on the Guardians.
That's when the unraveling began?
We had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen in Detroit, but to put this run for the Guardians in perspective, it is the largest deficit overcome in Major League history. The 1914 Braves rallied from 15 games down. The 78 Yankees from 14 down. The 2012 A's 13 back to come back and swipe that division. The 95 Mariners, we remember them, right? They were 13 back, as were the 1951 Giants. So just to put in perspective what the Guardians have accomplished over this last month and a half, 15 and a half back. Not only do they, I love the fact that not only did they win the division, Anthony, they won it outright yesterday. By winning, they win it outright. Yeah, they had the tiebreaker, but a little extra cherry on top of that one with them finishing a full game in front of the Motor City Kitties.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, it's a team obviously you know very well. They might not. They decided it didn't make sense to go with Skubal. They wanted to save him for the playoffs. They would rather go on the road than to have not had Skubal or
because
to have
he's
to pitch
done so
him on
well
3 days.
Against the Guardians in the last 2 weeks.
Well, I know. They've gotten the best of him. They didn't necessarily hit him that hard, but they did get the best of him, and they got into his head. Obviously, the David Fry stuff as well, but this is amazing. I think I'm sitting with the only people that truly believed in this team throughout the year, because I certainly buried, and most on this show buried them. Daryl, you had a guarantee. Owen's been saying for
July 17th.
Okay, you wrote it down. You had a specific date? Because what were they on July 17th?
Not only did I write it down, but here you go. Wins and losses between sports are apples and oranges. I mean, 8 Guardians losses is equal to 1 Browns loss in the grand scheme of the amount of games they play per season.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
So the horrible stretch that the Guardians put up where we all lost our minds still was just
week and
about
a half.
2 weeks of Browns football. And then winning 6-7 was winning in the snow against the Steelers on Thursday night. It's the same deal.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think this team is really going anywhere. I think we're both, unfortunately.
And if you do make the playoffs, and I think they're going to make the playoffs.
You do?
Yes.
Oof.
I think just looking at the schedule, I think it's 4 games. They got to make up 4 games.
Owen wants to play schedule game here for the second half.
Well, I've wanted to play schedule game for a month.
Bad.
That's why I bring it up every day.
I don't know.
Well, I will tell you, you didn't hear Ken in there. Ken buried him too. We buried him. And you, for some silly reason, believed in that team, which had not only lost 10 games in a row, they went on to lose 9 in a row in another streak. So
they lost 19 of 20.
That's 1/8. That's, if you think about it in the NFL terms, right? That's 1/8 of a schedule.
They also lost the starter and their closer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing that's incredible that they overcame, because when that news came down, I'm like, all right, well, these guys, we were thinking this is just tip of the iceberg. Like, who else is involved in this? And, we're sitting here in almost October, and we've had no resolution to that case. Well, nobody's talking about that case.
And mixed in, we had that bogus report from one of the national baseball writers saying that it went beyond those two. And then Jason, I think it was Jason Lloyd that reported, no, it doesn't go beyond those two. It's just those two players. But everything that they've been in, and you heard it in the open there from Stephen Vogt, everything that this ball club has been through this year So many times it was easy to jump off the bandwagon. It looked really dire there in late May and throughout the month of June with the offensive struggles. And it's almost miraculous considering the offense. I feel like that they won the division in spite of their offense. I really do. The rotation really fell into form down the stretch. They got hot when it matters most. Now, can they carry this into this wild card series with the Tigers, ultimately finish them off, and then advance to play Seattle in Game 1 of the American League Division Series on Saturday?
Well, yeah, you've got early games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
if necessary.
Yeah, and
can we just get a 2-game sweep? Can we just get this over with?
Well, can they beat Scooball a third time?
Sure.
Can they take them? It'd be pretty.
He hasn't pitched since he hit David Fry in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw how
it's not like he got to go out there and unshake it. It's on the same mound, and that's the last appearance that he's had.
Not to mention,
going to be packed.
The last time he was in Cleveland, he was in Stephen Vogt's truck.
Yeah, it is the whole story, and that they're going to dwell on that. That'll be one of the big stories. Look, the reality is you got to beat them a third time, to feel really good about doing this. I don't know. Do we have odds on the series? Because they've been underdogs in all these games. And then they finished the season winning, 17 of 20. And they needed them all. They needed to do this to have a shot. 216-474-0092. I want to hear from fans on all of this because the people, there seems to be two distinct tribes, pardon the vernacular here, when it comes to this team. Because as much as I said I was proud of them, I love them because they overachieve as opposed to another team in town that always underachieves. And that's the team we talk about the most. This team, what they just pulled off, they are one of the great stories in recent baseball history, maybe ever. I mean, I think
all time. No team's ever done this, being 15 and a half back to come. And again, outside of Jose Ramirez, outside of him, I'm going to throw Stephen Kwan in there too. Yep. Stephen hit 275, but no real big boppers, no real consistent big boppers in this lineup. It's not like that they came back and were just bludgeoning opponents to death like the 95 Indians did.
Still, they have the second worst batting average in baseball, and I think this is. I've been trying to look for this. Maybe Mitch can track it down. Our crack staff of one, Mitch. If we can find out, do they have the lowest batting average ever to make the playoffs?
No, I think that might be the Cincinnati Reds.
This is 226 on the year, their batting average.
I believe it was 220 when last checked, which is lower than the 1906 Chicago White Sox, who, by the way, went on to win the World Series that year.
Come on.
There you go.
You know they're diff right now?
No. Were they under? They had to be under,
they're
right?
They're -6.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often in baseball. Like, we've seen that in the NFL, right? I don't think
they're 14 games over 500, and they're -6 in the differential and plus-minus runs.
So none of this makes sense.
3 words for you: pitching wins championships.
Well, when you go, 19 games where the starter gave up 2 or less?
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that didn't happen in 100 years.
Their September ERA going into this past weekend was just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, so I said there are two distinct camps. There are the ones like me who you can't overlook when you make history like this. There's a team that wins the World Series every year. There's not a team that comes back from 15 and a half down in the division to win the division. This is all-time amazing. I'm in one camp, and I've been talking about this, how over the last 2 weeks, how amazing this is, how I still didn't even, 2 weeks ago, still didn't think they were necessarily going to pull it off.
You haven't put that butt in there yet?
Well, the other camp is pretty clear, and I'm getting it. I got it all day yesterday. I got it all weekend. It seems like every time I wanted to celebrate what they were doing, like it was almost like a magnet. The weirdos came a-coming about, well, they're not going to win the World Series, so who cares? So what I can't believe is, like, you'll have your time to shine. They're not going to win the World Series. You just have to wait because they probably won't. Most teams don't win the World Series. There's only one team that wins it every year.
29 teams do not win the World Series every year.
The odds are against them. Yes, higher payrolls will be there. And you know what? Higher payrolls have been eliminated. We just played the Rangers. They were eliminated. They were over $200 million. Okay? The Mets. How the Mets doing last time I checked?
They're getting clowned by the Reds right now.
Yeah, so Just payroll alone, whatever. We don't have to relitigate that every single time we talk.
Why does payroll have to steal your joy?
But that's what I'm saying. They won't.
The Browns spend infinite sums of money and they can't win. They can't be competitive. They print money at 76 Lou Groza Boulevard. They just throw it at the team. Here's more money at the team. $600 million they're going to spend over these 2 years to win like 6 games. Okay. The Guardians are the most successful organization as far as consistency goes. 15 times since that ballpark opened in 94, they've made the playoffs. They've won their division 13 times. I would argue they are the most underappreciated team in town for the value they give their fans. Now, do they always play the most exciting, compelling, edge of your seat, 3-run homer baseball that fans tend to embrace? No, they did yesterday, though.
I'll say the last 3 weeks of the year, they were as entertaining as anybody in baseball. I don't know how anybody they just ask national guys, just ask Ken Rosenthal, just ask Jeff Passan, who cannot stop congratulating what this team did. And I guess
you went from one Hall of Fame manager to Stephen Vogt, and all he's done in his first 2 years is win the division twice.
Well, that's a baseball guy, too. That's a baseball guy who came on here on Friday. I think he was kind of scolding us for maybe talking too much football.
Guys.
Yes.
Football guys. I did catch that.
Guys. You guys are football guys.
So I guess when did we get to the point where making the playoffs doesn't matter in baseball? Because it's always mattered. It's always mattered. Ask those guys that celebrate in the clubhouse with champagne every single time, no matter what.
I would get people being down on them for just making the playoffs, but they didn't just make the playoffs. They won the division, and no matter how the playoff format has been over, with the exception of when it used to be 24 teams in Major League Baseball and you had to win the AL and the NL, and then you got in the World Series straight away. Since, 94 especially, just if you win the division, you're in the playoffs, right? So it didn't matter. They won the division. They came back from 15.5, and they won it by a game.
They didn't back their way in.
Right.
This is seizing the opportunity. Again, a team in town that seizes the opportunity, and yet people in my mentions all weekend, who cares? They're not going to win the World Series.
A team that backed their way in. Detroit made the playoffs. They went 7-17 in September.
Did they celebrate, by the way? Did we find out?
They did celebrate. They had
Was it muted?
Because they have to. I don't know that. I watched Fox 2 in Detroit broadcast last night, and there was, maybe we'll have some of that later from some of the guys that are, in print and on radio there, but they're kind of like, we made the playoffs. The thing they have going for them is, who have they played the most the last 2 weeks? It's the Guardians, right?
You think that's going for them?
That's not a good thing for them, though.
No, if you're a Detroit, honk right now, and you only got to win 2. You only got to win 2. It's different. It is different.
I feel like we've been their boogeyman, though.
Yeah. Anthony, who's been hotter on the Guardians than me?
Oh, I know. I mean, I gotta give credit. Owen and you have been.
Do you know the amount of beat boxes I've purchased at that stadium?
Okay, what are we up to?
Month?
What's the tally? Because people are tweeting us all weekend.
All I got was I got a picture of a 78-year-old woman with her first beat box at her first Guardians game. She got her certificate. That was amazing. But yeah, all weekend it's beat boxes at the ballpark.
I love the thought of that woman.
I did spot you on the drink rails Friday night when I was at the ballpark.
I try to have my time at the drink rails every chance I get.
I love the thought of that woman walking in, getting her certificate. Like, where do I go? Guest services. I want to commemorate this. And where's the beatbox?
Yes,
get me to the beatbox.
The 2 things you always think of at your first Guardians game.
For the uninitiated, Daryl, 11%. I think we're talking about
11.1.
Yeah.
Don't undersell that last 0.1.
It is bringing the hammer. And Owen has had the entire final stretch run downtown. Fueled by it. You can make your way over there. 216-474-0092. So, I mean, the question is going to be, and it'll be there all morning, it'll be there all day tomorrow, it'll be there all week as you go up against Scooball. I'm guessing they're underdogs in that game.
Yeah, I'm sure game 1 there.
We have not chosen our starter yet. I imagine it's going to be Gavin Williams, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be
good.
Gavin.
You didn't have to use them. So,
but officially, it's still a TBD. Officially,
yeah, I think it's pretty obvious it'll be Gavin.
That should change this afternoon when the Guardians talk.
Yeah, right now it's Detroit minus 175.
Yeah, they've got their 2 times Cy Young Award winner. I do think
He doesn't
It is
scare
pretty
me.
obvious. Well, I don't think he's scared of our lineup. I mean, we to break things open, we had 3 guys come to the plate bunting, and it worked. And then the unfortunate incident happened with Fry. But, all that's going to be in his head. The fans, as much as we embraced how great of a class player he was after the game, that goes right out the window. When it comes to the fans, they are going to be chanting his name. That place is going to be worked into a frenzy. It's going to be a sold-out crowd. It's playoff baseball. We do playoff baseball pretty damn well in this town, and I absolutely cannot wait. So
appreciate it.
If you want to line them up, we will be getting to the Browns, but I want to get you guys in first. 216-474-0092. Now, do they have to validate what they just did? Do they have to win this wild card round? Because we are thrilled. This show, we are on the same page. We're thought partners about this team and how, you can talk tough and say World Series or bust. It doesn't matter, and payroll and whatever. Guys, we are celebrating what they just did. They made history.
Anthony, now
this
we're
week.
playoff companions.